Hi everyone, I hope all of you guys are doing well. Today I am going to talk to you about a topic which is very dear to my heart, and the topic is life after the UPSC result. Every year, lakhs and lakhs of students sit for this exam, and because the rate of success is so low, many people come out at the other end disappointed. Now, a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of people on Twitter will say it's a waste of time that spending years and years of your life on preparing for UPSC is not a good choice, because at the end of the day, only very few people will get selected. I have also gone through failure. It is not that I made it through this exam in my first attempt. And to be honest, I feel that you could learn more from a person who has failed in this exam than from someone who has not. Because only through failure, only through disappointment, only through that feeling of that guilt, once you don't satisfy the kind of expectations your family has, the society has, you fall into this trap of guilt, and that is very dangerous. So I have gone through that failure. I have felt guilty of not making into UPSC in my first attempt itself. So I have gone through that trap. I have gone through that feeling of being guilty that I have not been able to make it in UPSC in the first attempt, not even in the second attempt. So I want to talk to you today about that also, because that is a very important thing, how not to feel guilty, how to not fall in that trap of becoming underconfident of your capabilities. That is very important to understand. And I'm also going to talk about why I don't think it is a waste of time that you appear for UPSC or for any other government exam. Of course, the caveat to that is that I don't want you to unendingly appear for UPSC or government exam for 5-10 years. That is definitely a waste of your time. You will waste a lot of your productive youth years in preparing for the exam repeatedly, and it will not add much value to you after a certain point. Maybe the first year you learn a lot, second year, third year you learn a lot, but after a while you will not learn much more, right? So I feel like that when it comes to preparing for UPSC, you should not give it more than 3 to 4 attempts. The government does allow 6 attempts, but I feel like if you have exhausted 4 years, 5 years of your life on this particular exam, that is enough. And at some point you have to put an end to it. And what to do after that, I will also talk about in this particular podcast, but you have to take a decision after a while, because there a point comes where you have to move on. I also feel that people who are making consistent improvements in their preparation but give up within 1 or 2 attempts, who are smart, who have studied hard, who are getting it almost right, even I have seen some of those students give up. There is ego. These students don't try to get help. They don't talk to other officers, they don't try to take help from other sources. I think that is one of their biggest mistakes. But I feel like that is also important, that if you are right there, why would you not try to cross the bridge, right? So I don't think it is a waste of time, even if the result is 0.1%, 0.5%, whatever, even if the success rate is very low to get into the IAS, that doesn't mean that it is a waste of time. Because even if you take any other initiative, let's say you want to go into business, you want to be an entrepreneur, right? Even entrepreneurship is going to take time. You might see failure even there. You might, let's say, go into another job. You go into a private sector job, right? Even over there you might feel or face some sort of a failure, because you might have different values than what the company you work in has. You might not be satisfied by the kind of work you do. In the private sector, there are a lot more lot more uncertainties than in the government sector, of course. And that is why so many people apply for the government sector. So, at the end of the day, I don't think it is a waste of time if you are appearing for UPSC, but yes, you have to draw a line where you want to end your journey, how many years you want to give it to. That is very, very important. So, if you are a aspirant who has just recently not been able to get through this exam, I want to tell you that don't be afraid. If you are feeling bogged down, you are feeling disappointed or ashamed, it is okay to feel that. I am not saying your feelings are wrong, because I have also felt the same. Not once, I have felt the same multiple times. I have faced failure multiple times, not just in UPSC but even in other things. For example, when I was in National Defence Academy, I was in NDA, I was going to have a very good career in the armed forces, but I was medically boarded out from the National Defence Academy. And when I was medically boarded out of the National Defence Academy, I had no future in front of me. I was just 18 years old. And at that time, when you make it through such an exam, you're training in an academy, you already spend almost 6 to 7 months there, more than that. And then you are asked to leave. Would you be coming out of that academy confident? No. But that failure made me, strengthened me. Because at the end of the day, see, failure is going to be inevitable in your life, regardless of where you go, what you do. It might be some kind of a professional failure, it might be some kind of a personal failure, it might be related to your family, but the failure will come in one form or the other. The failure will try to pull you down. That is the job of that. The society will try to pull you down. But it is in your hands, it is in your mind whether you want to get pulled down or not. And every success story out there, let it be, Virat Kohli becoming one of the greatest cricketers today, Sachin Tendulkar becoming he was and is one of the greatest ever. Any other stories of, people like Nikhil Kamath of Zerodha, whose, rags to riches story. He has created an amazing company, entrepreneur, sportsman, athletes, anything you take in the world. Mary Kom, all these people have faced failures in their life in one form or the other. In fact, these people face failures every day in their life. Why do they face everyday failures in their life? When an athlete is training in the gym, you know how many failures that athlete goes through, how much mental tension apart from physical that athlete goes through. But does that mean even that athlete, let's say MS Dhoni, he was ticket conductor, he used to collect tickets in the train one day. There is an IAS officer I know, G. Srikant sir, he's in Aurangabad, he's the municipal commissioner. He used to collect tickets in the railway one day. But then he became an IAS officer. He worked hard and became an officer. MS Dhoni worked hard, became a cricketer. Haven't they faced, these people from humble backgrounds, haven't they faced failures? Of course they have. They have faced many, many failures. But has that stopped them from pursuing their dreams, thinking of numbers? A lot of people, they give these equations that the success rate is so and so. But has that stopped them from pursuing their dreams? You cannot look at numbers or success rates and be successful in life. No, you can never be successful in life by looking at success rates. That is not how billionaires become billionaires. That is not how IAS become IAS. That is not how political leaders, who come from, people like our Honorable PM, who has come from a very, very, very humble background today. Because of consistent effort, they are failing, they figure out why they are failing and then they work on it. This year, the topper is a girl, Ishita. She is also very impressed by her profile. She is also a soccer player, national level soccer player, played in the Subroto Cup. She said See, every aspirant's advice, every aspirant's strategy or their tactics or strategy or plan or their way of qualifying for this exam is different. The way they study, the way they prepare, how much time they give, how much time they don't give, right? All how they make notes, everything is different, every aspirant's. But what is common is their hard work, dedication, and sincerity. Without the right sincerity, without the hard work, without the pain, without the discipline, nothing is possible. This is something common, and this is what you have to strive for, because this will serve you in the long term. If you have not qualified in UPSC, but if you have become a sincere person, hardworking person, you have more discipline in the long term, this is what we will take you many miles. Trust me, because that is a currency. That is something you cannot buy. That is something you have to earn. That is something you have to earn. That is something you have to work on. All right. Now, for people who have not qualified in the exam, I also wanted to talk about whether you should take in another attempt. If you have done 1 or 2 attempts and are seeing consistent improvement in your marks, yes, definitely go for another attempt. If you are in your 3rd attempt or 4th attempt, but you feel, you know that there is something little bit wrong you are doing, go for it. I will tell you, in my 2nd attempt, after I got my mark sheet, I only missed by 1 mark, and I got very low marks in my essay. So I knew that I was doing something right. So I didn't want to change anything but work very hard on my essays, work very hard on my more writing skills, improve. And in my 3rd attempt, then I got rank 53. I got the highest marks in essay ever, 158 marks, almost. I think only very few people have got marks above that. So you have to kind of evaluate yourself. That is very important for another attempt, and that is what I wanted to do. You can also pivot. You can also think of starting a business, going for higher education. There are a lot of opportunities now starting to build in government. If you still want to be built in government, you can go for higher education in public policy, or you can go for urban planning. India is going to urbanize. India is going to change, and for that we will need not just IS officers. We will need a lot of qualified professionals who have degrees, who have expertise, and you can always play a part in the government. The government is also hiring private sector individuals as joint secretaries. So eventually you might end up in a position without being an IS officer. All right. So go for pivot if you have to pivot, because that is also going to be very important if you want to be successful in the future, because at some point you have to. But use the learning, use the discipline, like I said, that you acquired when you were a UPSC aspirant. And if you are going to stagnate, if you are going to continue to give this exam for 10 years, if you are not going to learn anything new, you are not going to have any skills, then there is not much that I can help you with, because it is going to be very difficult. Finally, I want to tell you that I want to share these lines with you, because these lines mean a lot to me, and I have learned a lot from these lines. I have always looked back at these lines whenever I am succeeding at something or failing at something. Even if I am, people are saying congratulations, this and that, I have always tried to keep my head down by reading these lines. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, don't let your dreams become your master. Don't become slave to your dreams. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim, you should be thoughtful, you should think, you should be mindful, but don't make thoughts your aim. Your aim should come from your action, from your practice. If you can meet triumph and disaster, and treat those two imposters just the same. Today, if someone has acquired rank 1, 2, 5, 6, whatever, if they are going to become too proud about that, too proud, Yes, be confident, but not too proud about that achievement. It's a good achievement, but that too shall pass. After a few years, no one will care. What people will see is what your work is like. So I advise to all of you that whether you are successful or you are in some sort of a failure, I advise you, I request you, all of you, to just remember these words and be humble, because humility is what defines the character of a person. All right, so these are my words for you today. If you have any doubts, let me know, and I hope you will learn something from here. And I will continue these kind of podcasts. You can listen to them while riding a metro, going for work, or whenever you're feeling a little down, because they will motivate you. All right, thanks, take care, and bye bye.